I fasted for 3 days to avoid cancer. When you fast for that long, your cells start eating the ones that don't work so well anymore, and those are the ones that turn into tumors. It's the most effective biological upgrade you can give yourself without spending a dime and without leaving home, and it reduces your chances of developing cancer. Now it's true, the science is there with evidence, but some people say it's not true. Well, what if it is true? Would you reduce your chances of getting cancer in the long run? Just by not eating for 3 days? Well, that's what I did, and I just finished. I felt like I stopped being a machine that runs on sugar and fats. And I felt like a very efficient organism that runs on energy. Renewable. I'll explain everything to you. That's what the 72-hour fast is called. And it's not like intermittent fasting or being on a diet. It's simply when you don't eat for 3 days. And you let your body take care of cleaning out everything it doesn't need anymore. This is called autophagy, which is when the body eats itself, it eats the waste, the trash, and eliminates it. And no, it's not torture for the body. In fact, it's very natural. It's the natural way we developed, the way we evolved. Our ancestors didn't eat 3 times daily, go to the store when hungry, or have a refrigerator to grab food from. They ate when they hunted or when they found something, and this was every 2 or 3 days. Honestly, I'm afraid, not panicked to the point of not wanting to live, but still afraid. Many of my friends, many people close to me, are being diagnosed with cancer just this year. Personally, I know 4 people who I am close friends with here in Canada, and they've been diagnosed with various cancers. Men and women of all ages, not just those who smoke, drink, use drugs, and are overweight, but healthy people too. I have friends who, like me, never smoked but still got lung cancer. I also know people who, just like me, exercise every day and are not overweight, and they already have cancer too. People who don't eat junk food have colon cancer. One of the most shocking and brutal cases I've seen in my life, that of this guy, Hernel Sosa, a Mexican bodybuilder who was diagnosed with jaw sarcoma. At first, he thought it was an abscess, which is an infection, a pore or infected follicle, and he went to get it checked. And they told him, "You have bone cancer in your jaw, sarcoma." With this type of cancer, do they have to amputate wherever bone tissue appears evenly? Do they have to cut it off to save your life? If they don't cut it off, if they don't amputate it, you pass away. Well, they cut off this guy's jaw, they removed his lower jaw. And look how much skin they had to amputate to try to cover the hole that was left. Because you're missing your jaw. To this day, he can't chew, he lost half of his tongue, he can't eat or breathe the way we do. Let me remind you that this could happen to you or me at any moment. Sarcoma is not a common type of cancer, but there are many other types that you and I are not immune to. And all of this inevitably makes me think, what if it's my turn next? In Canada, 1 out of every 2 Canadians, 1 out of 2, that's half of the entire population, will be diagnosed with some type of cancer at some point in their life. This is half, so it's very reasonable. When will it be my turn, and if I have 3 children? It's that, at the very least, one of them will be diagnosed with some type of cancer in their life. So if you can reduce your risk of all this just by not eating for 3 days, human beings evolved through many periods of famine that struggle to find food to survive is what made us who we are. So, the body got used to constantly doing these cleanings at the cellular level. But in modern life, it never has time anymore because we're always eating. Imagine you're a hunter trying to survive. You go hunting every day, and if you don't have a refrigerator, where do you keep your food? Are you going to eat meat every day? Simply no. And it's not just that it's eating the cells you don't need anymore and all the damaged stuff, but it also resets your immune system. It also burns that hard to burn fat that's in the lower part of your abdomen so you can really feel it. Look, let's see. This is how I am. Here, on the side, I still have this part of my belly. At my age is common, but it's less about looks and more about how I feel. I felt really good during this fast. Several scientific studies support this. This has been reviewed by other scientists from various countries who have no financial interest. Actually, it's the opposite. You're financially discouraged from doing this. That idea that we should eat 3 times a day, have cereal for breakfast, and that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. All of this was marketing. They gave it to us to sell us more. Let's call it what it is, a lie. The fallacy of 3 meals a day was specifically designed to keep us sick, weak, and controlled. It all started in the early 1900s when a single family restructured everyone's diet, not for health, but for profit. They reprogrammed everything we knew about human biology and made us slaves to a clock. Ask yourself this question. When you overeat, is it beneficial for you or for the companies? It's almost like a prison where you have a schedule for when you get your meals. Humans thrived on 1 or 2 meals a day for generations. The direct culprit, I would say, was this man, John D. Rockefeller, the owner, the oil tycoon, who was called the savior of nutrition. In 1910, he founded something called, in quotes, nutritional science, whose business scheme was to push you so that you would be eating all day long. They gave us these super sugary cereal flakes. The Rockefellers were expanding their oil empire and also had factories. So they started telling these stories that workers were fainting in the middle of work. And this was the image. To start this ritual, they sold us, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. In 1917, Kellogg's, the sugar-coated cornflakes, became like a drug you had to have every morning. And that's how this hunger clock was born. It was like an addiction. It was practically manipulating the masses through food, and that's how they sold food. He joined the voracious capitalism. And in 1920, that same Rockefeller money started to be invested in education. And the housewives who went to these so-called schools were programmed. They were taught that they had to cook 3 times a day. Then they put ads on the radio that said, feed your husband or he'll fail, feed your child or he'll flunk at school. And they sold us out. These processed carbohydrates and sugars, which push your insulin way up, make you constantly crave sugar and take away your energy. So the real science, which is in fasting, was buried. They killed it later in 1999 and gave us another fallacy, the fraud of the food pyramid. The United States government, which is the most influential in the world, told you that you had to eat 6 to 11 servings of bread and pasta every day. Can you imagine the nonsense? These so-called studies were funded by corporations that invested in cheap carbohydrate grains to serve us all as customers. By 2000, obesity was already a pandemic, and by 2010, diabetes had become routine. This wasn't a nutrition pyramid, it was a pyramid of advertising for profit. They created a cycle, eat then collapse from lack of energy. So you crave more and repeat it. And now you have 3 meals a day, snacks between meals, sodas, sugary drinks every hour. And I'm trying to do this fasting as a way to regain my energy, my focus, my freedom. I mean, this fasting thing isn't what it used to be. It's not that I'm stingy, broke, greedy, or can't afford to eat. It's about freeing yourself from that indoctrination that the corporations gave us. You are going to eat according to the nature of your body, not on the schedule that the corporations set for you. And the truth we have to accept is that we were never addicted to food. We were never programmed to consume, and we have to reset our biology. And they paid scientists to support this theory, and doctors too. But now that we know the truth about fasting, what's the interest here? Who pays for fasting? So, in my opinion, the scientists who support these fasting theories are much more credible than those who tell you to consume more. In 2016, Dr. Yoshinori Osumi won the Nobel Prize for discovering this impactful and powerful way the body heals itself, autophagy. He was the one who scientifically discovered how the body eats its own damaged cells when it doesn't receive food. It's the body's internal recycling system. He discovered that this healing process begins once you stop constantly feeding your body. This fasting process doesn't weaken you. It's not meant to malnourish your body. It's a biological repair code. Your body isn't lazy, the body is intelligent, and when you give it space, it heals itself. Fasting isn't about starving yourself. Autophagy is the rejuvenation system built into your body from the factory. You just have to enter the right code. Hunger. So I decided to give it a try. I said, why not? And what if it actually works? Not just to cleanse my body on a cellular level, but specifically to prevent cancer or to reduce my chances of getting any kind of cancer. And I'm supposed to already be someone who's at low risk. Like someone who doesn't drink, smoke, eat fast food daily, and exercises. But still, I've seen so many healthy people pass away from cancer that you don't even know what to be afraid of anymore. So I have nothing to lose, I just can't leave my kids alone. Who's going to take care of them if I'm gone? I'm their only financial support, and in the future I will continue to be. So I have to be here for the next 18 years minimum. And like at the end of every trip, when I come back home, I go back to frozen food that I froze before leaving and an empty refrigerator. It's a vegetable soup there. The spinach, vegetables, and chicken are already thawing, and now we're adding them in. And now it's also an anti-aging method, because when you fast frequently, it slows down your aging process and makes you look younger again. That's not my intention. The only thing I'm afraid of here is cancer. I don't care about the rest, but it's an extra benefit, and it has many other benefits too. It also sharpens your brain's clarity, making you feel more alert and quick-witted. It also activates the regeneration process of stem cells. It also repairs your organs. It even repairs your skin, and your gut resets, repairs, and improves everything. And when I started reading about all these benefits, I started to doubt a little. I said, oh, I don't think so. It sounds too good to be true. But after reading a bit more, I realized they were right. Our ancestors went through a lot of hunger, and they couldn't afford to just lie down when there was famine. They couldn't afford to collapse. When they had gone 3 days without eating, they didn't have the luxury of collapsing from exhaustion and hunger. On the contrary, they had to get better when there was famine. If they failed a hunt, they had nothing to eat. They couldn't just take a break and rest and try again tomorrow. They had to continue with that eternal struggle for survival. So we, our bodies, evolved to produce your best mental state. Think about it when you're hungry. It was when they felt that hunger, that emergency of having nothing to eat. They would send a signal to the brain saying you have to be really sharp, and they'd send the signal to the body. You need to move and be strong, fast, sharp, with quick reflexes. That state of hunger was what triggered the alert to maximize your body's performance without wasting a single gram of energy. This also includes cells that produce less. Like any company where you see an employee who is already arriving late, taking very long breaks, and you tell them to maximize production excellence. In the same way, your body, any cell that it sees is slacking off, look, you're out, now you're going to make energy, we're going to consume you. Imagine how effective this optimization is, which we are no longer a part of because we eat all the time. Modern life deprived us of this state of alertness, healing, this state where you sharpen all your weapons, sharpen your axe, sharpen everything. You know that hunting isn't easy, so imagine the pressure the body feels when it knows it has to go hunting. But it has no energy or fat. Where does it come from? How do I get energy? What gets turned into energy? Let's see, there's something there that could turn into a tumor. Give it to me. I'll burn it right now so we can run really hard, shoot arrows, chase that mammoth. And it was those cells that could have turned into a tumor. That's how it reduces your chances of getting cancer. So this is the improvement, the upgrade, the boost, the biggest enhancement you can give your body. It's free, no exercise, no pills, no doctors, no food, nothing. Just drink water, just close your mouth and stop eating, and our magnificent body takes care of the rest. It's like going through a healing process, like an interior wash for your vehicle, a change of all the fluids, an internal cleaning of every corner of your house. It even prevents Alzheimer's. It reduces your risk. In order for me to do this, the 72-hour fast, I had to start little by little. I started by having only 2 meals a day. I had my first meal at 12 noon and my last meal at 8 at night. And I would go those 16 hours without eating. Then on some days I would only eat once. 1 meal a day. At 4 or 5 in the afternoon I would have a meal, and like that. And little by little I got used to it until I was able to do the 72-hour fast. I felt really good, and now I believe, yes, I believe what scientists tell us, that this was the natural way we evolved, yes. It was like a necessary adaptation because the body was constantly lacking nutrients, so what are you going to do? The saying goes, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, that's it. When the body experienced times without food, it would use the opportunity to clean itself. It was an adaptation that allows you to repair yourself. You adapt to the lack of food, you repair and heal your body. And you get yourself ready for the hunt. I mean, you heal, you sharpen your mind. All the positive things occur in the first few hours. After that, you feel nothing. Your body starts to get energy from your last meal. And there are many people who don't even remember the last time they went through it. More than 5 hours without eating, or more than 8 hours if you count the hours they sleep, is the longest they go without eating. They eat right before going to bed and eat immediately upon waking up. So, 8 hours, 7 or 8 hours is the most they go without eating. But as the hours start to go by, after about 8 to 16 hours, your body starts to release those energy reserves it keeps for emergencies. It keeps using glucose for about 12 hours, but after those 12 hours, your body starts to get energy from other sources wherever it can. And that's when your brain starts telling you, hey, eat, hey, look, there's something there. There's something in the fridge. Your brain tries to trick your body into eating. This is normal. We're used to it. That's where you have to stay strong. After 24 hours, glucose, which is the body's favorite energy source, drops and changes. The switch is no longer getting energy from glucose, but from your body fat, visceral fat. Imagine millions and millions of workers and people cleaning your body at the same time at a cellular level. What do? They recycle everything. For example, if you work in a factory and you haven't received new materials, what do you do with what's already in the trash, with what has already been thrown out? You go and see, let's see what's here that I can use. You start recycling, reusing. And that's why this 72-hour fast is known as the most powerful anti-aging method known to biology. And after 48 hours without eating, I already started to feel much calmer. I felt an inner peace because my body was no longer busy digesting the last thing I ate, a state I hadn't been in for years. Do you remember the last time your body went more than 48 hours without digesting something? And so that energy the body used to digest food, to process meals, now goes toward repairing you. Instead of processing junk food, we're going to repair the body muscle by muscle, organ by organ, cell by cell. And you don't lose muscle either, science says so, right? Your body burns fat, not muscle, which is why many gym goers are muscular and mention this. I'm afraid of losing the little I've gained, and I understand that feeling. All my years, from 20 to 30, I did nothing but be in the gym trying to bulk up a little. I also feared losing muscle after spending hours in the gym to build it, but you don't actually lose muscle. And after 48 hours, I felt like I was in a natural state of human existence, a state I hadn't experienced in years. Which is when your stomach is empty, your body is empty, burning off all the excess. You're focused. Your mind is calm, blank, at peace. It's processing. You have that clarity. You're alert. You're attentive. You feel energetic. You don't feel sluggish. You feel optimal. I loved feeling that way. It's like people who try a drug for the first time and say, wow, I felt good right away. I felt like my mind was drifting, that I could hear everything, that my brain was responding like that. That's exactly how I felt. And now I understand why our ancestors survived. Because if you haven't eaten in 2 days and you have to go out and hunt, this mental state is necessary. You can't be depressed, discouraged, unfocused, overwhelmed, or have a heavy stomach. No, I was attentive. That's right, you have to be drinking water, and if you're hydrated, trust me, try it. Your body becomes a ritual. Like when you do ayahuasca, it's all those rituals, just like that. Your body goes into a ritual where you regenerate a whole mental state that I had never experienced without meditation. I felt like I stopped being a machine that runs on sugar and fats. And I felt like a very efficient organism that runs on energy, renewable. And that's how I did my 72-hour fast. After 72 hours, I broke the fast. But it's not going to be just a little. Eating 3 burgers with soda and milkshakes and hot dogs with bacon. I didn't eat fruits or vegetables. Almond milk and just a little by little so your body can start up again. And I felt so good with this 72-hour fast that I say I'm definitely going to do it at least once a year. There are people who do it 2 or 3 times a year. There are people who do it every 2 months, but I'm going to do it at least once a year. And I'll keep sharing with you here.